Hello children, welcome to online edu classes of Brilliant. Today we'll discuss one of your writing section, that is business letter. Whenever we say about letters mean a formal communication which we pass from one person to another, or might be one company to another company, or it can be a single person to many person, or whatever it might be so. Now, when we come to business letter, it is a letter written in formal language used when writing from one business organization to another, or for correspondence between such organizations and their customers, clients, and other external parties. They are used for different purpose like placing order, making inquiries, making credit request, requesting claims and adjustment, to apologize for a wrong, or simply to convey goodwill, etc. Even today, they are very useful because it produces a permanent record. They are confidential, formal, and delivers persuasive, well considered messages. Style of letter depends on the relationship between the parties concerned. Now we'll discuss about the format of this letter. Generally, when we say about formal letters, it follows a static format in which the first we should enter sender's address, in which your name, address, phone number, and whatever the things, extra information that we want to give, we can give it over there. Next comes as date. Next, we give a reference number. Every company used to give reference number to this letter. Next, we can include any certified mail or any personal information. Next comes as recipient ad name or recipient's address, or we can say receiver's address, a person who will be receiving the letter. Next, we can give an attention. We can write an attention or in recipient's name. Next comes to the salutation. Next, subject. If you want to write the subject just above the salutation, you can write it. There is no such problem based on it. Next, body of the letter, which contains 3 phrases. There are introduction, body, and conclusion. Next, we give a closing salutation, your name, whatever the initials and all those things. These all things are being mentioned. So the letterhead and the sender's address means if you are writing the letter in a letterhead, then no need to write the sender's address. But if you are not writing the letter in a letterhead, you have to write the sender's address. It includes the company's logo, symbol, name, address, zip, telephone number, fax number, email address, website of the company, etc. Printed at the top center, left or the right side. Now sender's address. Why we write sender's address? It is usually given in the letterhead, but if there is none, the sender's name, address and contact details can be typed, because it is an authentical document, and whenever we file it up, if the person want to reply you back, then he can reply you by seeing this sender's address, children. Next, reference. Now, why we give this reference? Include a reference line to identify a file or case number, invoice number, or any other identifying information, or any other internal identifying information if your company requires one. Some companies have specific reference codes that they place either in a reference line below the date or at the very bottom of the letter. Now, what should be the format of the date and how we should write the date? The date consists of the date, name of the month and the year. If the letter sheet includes a letterhead, type the date from 2-3 lines under the letterhead. Else, type it under the return address or the sender's address. Never send a letter without a date, because date should be always specifically mentioned that when you have dropped that written document. The date is written in 2 styles. In the British method, which we use, 4th July, 2012, or today's date might be 24th September 2020. Means we use ordinal numbers. Now the American method, they use cardinal numbers. They use July 4th, 2012. Never write the date like 7/2/12 in hyphen or in slashes, because it shows that the writer is careless or in a great hurry. Now, the inside address or the receiver's address means the person who will receive the letter. It includes the name and address of the firm or the individual to whom the letter is written. Written on the left side beside the margin, 2 spaces below the data line. Use courtesy titles before name of the receiver, such as Mr., Mrs., Shri, Srimati, Miss, Mrs., Doctor, Professor, Captain, Major, Colonel, General, etc. The address can also given with a job title or a department. Now, if you don't know the name, for example, the sales manager, the accounts department, etc., we can say the collector. But if we don't know the name, we can directly post it with the designation of that person. Now, subject and receiver's reference number. Subject is used so that the reader immediately know what your letter is about. Use subject or reference number. Subject usually comes between salutation and body. But if you write just above the salutation, it is okay. The receiver's reference, that is, the receiver's previous letter, number is mentioned under the heading reference. This will enable the receiver to easily take out a copy of his own letter from his file and understand the matter in the reply. Now coming to the salutation. It is a compliment or greeting written beside the left hand margin, 2 spaces below the inside address and 2 lines above the body of the letter. It is followed by a comma or a colon. Salutation depends on the gender, type, number, the social status of the person, address, etc. For example, there are few examples in front of you children. You can just have a look. Dear Sir, Dear Madam, Dear Amidas, Dear Mr. John, Dear Nancy, Dear Sales Manager, Dear Customer, Dear Ladies and Gentlemen, Respected Sir, etc. Now coming to the body of the letter. It begins with 2 spaces below the salutation. Contains the message or the information to be communicated. Most important, lengthiest, prominent part written in correct, appealing and impressive style. Divided normally into 3 paragraphs, as I have told, 3 parts or 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph should be your introductory paragraph, then your body paragraph or called as middle paragraph, and last one will be your closing paragraph. Double space between paragraphs are required. If letter exceeds 1 page, repeat the recipient's name, date, reference, subject, line and put page number. Continue a letter 3 lines below the heading. Now coming to complimentary close. It is written 2 spaces below the last line of the body. It is a polite way of saying goodbye. It depends on the tone and degree of formality. In a formal manner, we can say respectfully, yours respectfully, sincerely, yours faithfully. In informal, cordially yours, warm regards, best wishes, so and so. Now the signature and designation. Written double space below the complimentary close, first comes signature. That should be pen written. And rest others should be typed one. Sign your first and last name. Second line, when we say, type written name. Third line, business title. And the next one, the signature acts as proof. The enclosures. The line tells the reader to look into envelope for more. Write enclosure, ENC or ENCL or enclosure full below the signature block. Enclosure, for example, one you are giving your biodata or one you are submitting any bill or something else like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, in this way you have to give the enclosures. If you don't enclose anything, skip it. Now, when we say about the layout of the letter, there are three layouts: block, indent, and semi-block, modified block, which we say. So, what is the block format or what is the block layout? Each line of every part begins at the left margin. At least one line space between each part. Time saving method and beautiful to look at, also known as American style. And this is the only format that we are following nowadays. Now, when we say about intent format, new paragraphs begin about 1.5 centimeter to the right of the left margin. The style is also known as hanging style. This method consumes a lot of time, looks shabby, therefore out of practice. Now, semi-block format, which we can say, some parts are typed in block method and other parts are intended. Return address, date, closing and signature start just to the right of the center of the page, or maybe flush with the right margin. Most widely followed method in our country, especially in government offices. So let's go through one of the sample format of business letter. Now, types of business letters: there are inquiry, order, refusal, acceptance, quotation, follow-up or cancellation, complaints, claims, adjustment, settlement, collection, agency, sales letters. There are 7 Cs of communication: completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, clarity, courtesy, correctness. We should follow all the 7 Cs while writing any letter, either it is a business or official letter, especially children. Now, few tips, children. Important. Draft your message, revise, edit, rearrange and proofread. Few points we should follow. Maintain proper margins. Use the right font size, style and color. Strike the right tone. Be brief and professional. Do not be too blunt or flattery. Use a quality pen to sign the letter and thoroughly read before you send it. Neatly fold the letter into thirds and post it in a clean envelope with company logo. Neatly print, write a return address and the recipient address on the envelope. So, as we have discussed all the components of this business letter, thank you, children, and have a great day.